Ding ding, ba da dum bum ba, ah la la, ba da dum bum ba da la la la, ay la la, ay la 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 la, ay 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 ay, ba da dum bum ba, ba da dum bum ba, ay 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 la la. La 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 la, ay ay la 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 la, ay ay bam 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 ba, ay la 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 la, bam 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 ba, ay ay bam 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 ba. Ba-da-dum bum ba, ba ya ya, ba-da-dum bum ba, ba-da-dum bum ba, ba-da-dum bum ba, ay ya ya, ay la, ba-da-dum la la, ay ya ya, ba-da-dum bum ba, ay ya ya, ba-da-dum bum ba, da-da-da la la. Ay la la, ay 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 la 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 la, ay la 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 la, ay oh yam bam 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 ba la 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 la, ay la 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 la, ay yam bam ba la la ba la la ba la la. Bam 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 ba da 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 oh. Okay, that's a good niggun too. That's a good niggun. It's okay. It's okay. However, today is the 8th yard site of Yedid Nafshenu, our precious holy soul brother teacher Rav Shalom brought. I wanted to dedicate this morning's learning Elul Nishmasa. Many of you knew him, many of you remember him, you've heard about him over the years. And he was on Shabbos we were talking about friends that are just there. You don't have to tell them to be there. That was Shalom. He was a chevra. He was there. You knew it. You knew he was there. You just knew it. So I want to dedicate this today and the Elul Nishmasa, and we continue learning in the month of Elul, Elul Nishmas Bas Yefega Bas Yisrael, Levi ben Yosef, and for the refuah of Leah Shoshana Bas Malya, and for the refuah of Sarah Bas Rachel Fega, and the whole week is sponsored by the Reinitz family in honor of my sister's birthday, which is this Shabbos, yeah. Okay, chevra. I have such a curse atov to our dear Chaver Reb Eli Goldschmidt, who introduced me to a Torah that I must have been waiting for, whether I realized it or not. Sometimes you meet a certain sweetness of Torah, and you're just like, oh, like when you meet a girl, efa'it kol chayai. Where were you my whole life? And that's how I'm feeling with the world of Torah of the Tolna Rebbe Shlita. And I think we're going to see, I'm not sure how much, we're going to start off now, this Zman, with learning some of his Torahs.
Sweetness, it's honey from the Rebbe.
We didn't plan that. we didn't plan it. It's sweet, it's really sweetness. And we begin our march, at least on Wednesday mornings, we can begin our march towards the Yom HaKodesh Rosh Hashanah. This Torah that, you can give these out, it's from this beautiful, beautiful Sefer Ori V'Yishi, which the Rebbe gave me when we went to go see him, like a few weeks ago, I don't know, like a month ago maybe, yeah. The Torah here is just so sweet. It's so sweet. It's new, but it's old. It's everything. And today, what we're going to be addressing, and I've been thinking about this the last few mornings, what we're going to be addressing today is the following topic that comes up all the time. As Yidden, we have this Indian of like, the other nations of the world speak a lot about the Satan, Satan. big thing by other chevras, right? And by us, kivyachol, it's not a thing we don't speak about besides on the holiest times of the year, right? As a Baal Tefillah, you should know it's very, very, it's almost like you wish that Hineni should be said all in quiet. The whole thing. There are pieces I say in quiet. It's a Kabbalah I have from my Abba, and from others do this as well. There are pieces in there that you say quiet. Hineni is the davening, the tefillah, that the Chazan says right before he starts Musaf. But then there's a moment in the Nusach, and the Heilige Chazan, Rabbi Yosef Rosenblatt, who I grew up on a lot of his Nusach, even in his old recordings, and I'm sure many of you that grew up in Ashkenazi shuls in America, whether you realize it or not, Yosef Rosenblatt's Nusach penetrated through kimat, like all the Ashkenazi shuls in America. I think also in Eretz Yisrael. I listen to those recordings. That's my Yisa the uncles. That's for me home. But then when it gets to the moment of the words that we say in Hineni, v'tigar b'satan leval yastineni, where you're basically screaming, Ribono Shel Olam, stick it to Satan. Make sure he doesn't mess me up. Why are you talking about this? And also, the whole Inyan, Tkiyas, the day before Rosh Hashanah, and the Satan shows up through Chazal, Dafka around Rosh Hashanah time, more than any other time of the year. So, I don't know the answer to like why Pitom we're giving him space. But I don't know the bigger answer. But there's an approach here in this third Maimer in Ori V'Yishi. There's an approach that'll help us understand the avoda of Elul towards Rosh Hashanah. Elul towards Rosh Hashanah. There's a deep concept here of Teshuvah, but geared towards getting ready to stand there and Yom Hadin she'yavo aleinu letova ve'al kol Beit Yisrael be'ezrat Hashem letova, and we'll see something very, very, very beautiful, all based on a Gemara. So look inside. Ita b'Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, lama tokin umeri'in kshehem yoshvim, betokin umeri'in kshehem omdin, kedei la'arbev ha'satan. Here we go again. What's the question the Gemara is asking? The Gemara is trying to mevarer a certain sugya. It's the end of Dav Tetvav, Tetzayin. It's a very interesting sugya about why is it, there's called Tkiyas de Miyushav and Tkiyas de Ma'umad. And without getting too involved in the technicalities, and here we do it like this, where there's Tkiyas that are before Shmona Esrei, and there's Tkiyas that are during Shmona Esrei. How many of you grew up with having Tkiyas during silent Shmona Esrei? That's what I'm talking about. How many of you remember that there weren't any Tkiyas during? Interesting. But you didn't have. Interesting. I grew up always there. I think there always were. So the Gemara is asking over here in Rosh Hashanah, what is this Inyan? Why do they blow shofar when they're sitting? That doesn't literally mean sitting, it just means not amida. Amida doesn't necessarily mean standing, it means the amida. And then the Gemara says, and also, then why are you doing this also while you're standing? And the answer the Gemara gives is, we're back to what we said in the beginning. Why? To belbel et satan. Chevra, what's the kesher between sitting, standing, this, that? How does this affect the Satan? If the Satan's so powerful, is he just very low of intelligence? He may be so powerful, but intelligently you could trick him with some mental gymnastics. What is this whole Inyan?
Figured it out after the first year.
What's that?
You figured it out after the
right.
first year.
And if he's still around after the first year, you say, wait, I know what they're going to be doing right now. Actually, you really prepped us for how Rashi explains this. So look what Rashi says. Perush Rashi v'zel shono. Shelo yastin k'sheyishma sheYisrael mechavevin es hamitzvos mistatmin devarav. This is really fascinating. It says, he won't be mastin, he won't mekatreg, he won't prosecute, he won't say bad things about Yidden. When what? When he hears that Am Yisrael like mitzvahs. And when he sees and he hears that Yidden like mitzvahs, he gets quiet. That doesn't really help us. This is a classic Rav Ravender situation. What did Rashi just say? 2 answers. 1, I don't know. 2, I still don't know, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Okay? I got to see Rosh Hashanah this week at Rav Leo's wedding. It was very, very special. I didn't see him in a while. You should have a refuah shlema b'ezrat Hashem. So he says, Rashi tells us we do this stand like before Shmona Esrei and during Shmona Esrei. Why? Le'arbev et Satan. Why? And Rashi says, because the Satan, from seeing us do these different type of tkiyas, he sees, what does he see about us? There's what's called חיבוב mitzvah. What's very interesting, and I always wondered about this, it never says ahavas mitzvah. Whenever it speaks about this concept of mitzvahs, it always says חיבוב. Now in Hebrew, what's the difference?
Like and love.
Right. So I have a friend that told me recently, he's like, wow, I love you, but I'm really working hard on liking you. I said, thanks, I love you too, you know.
I noticed you didn't say you like them.
Huh?
You didn't say you like them.
Right, I said I love you too. I didn't say I like you. I said I love you too. It's
My
true.
wife says that sometimes. Only sometimes? Love me, but liking is something, you know.
That's for a different shiur. We'll figure that out. It's there to Shalom Bayis shiur.
Why
yeah.
need the Rebbe?
So let's go back to Rashi. Midivrei Rashi ole shechibuv hamitzvah. The Tolna Rebbe is saying we see that from liking the mitzvah, hu sheme'akev es hasatan hamashchis milahastin aleinu. Liking the mitzvahs is what prevents Satan from doing his job. וצריך להבין מדוע דווקא חיבוב מצווה הוא שסוסם את דבריו, יוסר מאשר המצווה עצמה. And he says we have to understand, why is it that liking mitzvahs is what shuts up Satan more than doing the mitzvah itself? You could have just said, they do the mitzvah, and that's what shuts up Satan. No. The liking of the mitzvah is what shuts up Satan. ובכלל צריך ביור מהו גדר זה של חיבוב mitzvah. Thank you, this is helpful. And now he's saying, and let's just figure out, what does this mean to like a mitzvah? What does this even mean? L'maisa, what does this mean? Now he brings here, the rest of this teaching is based on the following teaching from the Sefer Panim Yafos. The Sefer Panim Yafos was from one of the Talmidim of the Magid of Mezrich, Reb Pinchas Horowitz. He was known as the Baal HaHafla. He was the brother, there's a few brothers that learned together by the Magid of Mezrich. Moshe, tell this to your friend, the Mezricher. He's a Talmid of the Mezricher, and his brother was Reb Shmelke of Nikolsburg. They were both there by the Magid of Mezrich. The Baal HaFla, his sefer is called Panim Yafos. So he helps us over here. Kasav lefaresh ha'inyan b'zeh ha'lashon. Kedei le'arbev ha'satan. What does this mean, to mix up, to mess up with Satan? Shehu me'urbav milahastin ulahaskir es avonos meiraso. We're trying to cause a situation that he gets so confused that prevents him from bringing up bad things about us before Hashem. Kevan shero shemechavev ines mitzvahs. Since he sees that we like the mitzvahs, he calls it over here ahavas mitzvahs, which we'll go deeper into. Pen yekubal hatshuva me'ahava. What is he so nervous about? That the tshuva from ahava will be received and accepted, and then what ends up happening? Lahapech es kol avonos l'schuyos. Mitoch kach hu me'urbav milahazkir es avonos. This is amazing. This is beautiful. What did the Afla just say? He says, what do we know about the Inyan? Now the Rambam explains tshuva meira versus tshuva me'ahava. Tshuva meira, what do we know about a person's avonos? Nimcholim. Tshuva me'ahava gets switched over. So he's saying, wait a second, I see that they're really liking doing mitzvahs, which means that they'll end up doing tshuva me'ahava, which means that if I give more ammunition, if I provide more things that they do bad, eventually, what's going to happen? What am I basically doing?
Giving them more mitzvah.
I'm increasing more the mitzvah toll. So it's a beautiful word, right? You're saying, I see, they really like the mitzvahs. Maybe they weren't so good during the year, but these yiddelach over here, sofam lasos tshuva me'ahava. They're going to be doing tshuva me'ahava. Yeah. The more I load on the tank of all the things they did bad, the more that eventually I'm basically providing them with more of a tank of things that end up being good. Remember the whole word of Levi Yitzchak by Teshuvah. Why do we do tashlich? Why do we do tashlich? What do we do by tashlich? We take our averas and we throw it into the water. And then when do we go back to the water? Simchas Beis HaShe'eva. We go back to the water after the Teshuvah that we've done, and sho'ev, we draw back from the water all the chataim that we threw in, and we say, now we did Teshuvah me'ahava. This is all schuyas. I want to grab back my mitzvahs now. It's a beautiful yityitzv avoid. Beautiful yityitzv avoid. וכך כתבו כמה וכמה מפרשים, שכיוון שחיבוב מצווה ודאי בא מתוך אהבה. Of course, when you like and appreciate mitzvahs, of course, it's got to come from a place of love. Eli, tell that to your wife. When you like something, right? Love, liking, it's really all connected. אזי, כשהשטן רואה את בני ישראל עושים מצווה זו מתוך חיבוב ואהבת הבורא, הוא חושש שכשיסטין עליהם ויביא עוונוס, פשעים וזדונות, הכל יהפך לזכויות. Exactly what we just said right now. What's he nervous about? Making us look good. That is something he does not want to do. But what ends up eventually happening from this little story is they're all quiet. That's what it's causing. It's causing the Satan to just simply be quiet. Sharikach amru chazal. The Gemara in Yemאס says like this: Sha'oset Teshuvah me'ahava zdonos na'sim lo kazkuyos, ve'al ken hu sotem ta'anotav v'dvarav ve'eino mastin. Okay. We answered one question. What's the one question we answered over here? How does חיבוב mitzvah help silence the Satan? Because when I show that I like a mitzvah, that I love a mitzvah, that I'm excited for a mitzvah, that I have a whole mahalach in my heart that gets really, really like anticipates, and is the general experience is just one that's beautiful. Satan says these types of people, their tshuva will end up being a tshuva of love, not just a tshuva of yira. I don't want to make them look good. How do I help not making them look good? Just being silent at all. So Satan's not that smart, because you realize you outsmarted the Satan. Now you keep him quiet. Wait a second, there's also a pasuk, yes, with the psukim, right? What, the psukim before Tkiyas, where does it come up, the union of Satan? Arov avdecha letov al yashkuni zeidim is one of the psukim, but also the Koli Shamata, isn't the Rashi Tevas cross Satan?
Yeah.
And then the next one, I don't remember it in front of me right now, all the psukim. I think it is. What's the one after that? What's the one right after that? Koli Shamata al tam it must be a reish. That's ayin. That's ayin. Rosh dvarcha emes, right? Aruv avdecha letov. Shin, Zeidim. It's there also. Whatever. Lo etzlenu. Okay, whatever it is. Now let's go deeper with this. What does it mean? This whole avoda that the Tolna Rebbe is speaking about is gearing us towards doing serious teshuvah. And serious teshuvah, for many of us growing up, meant stop. That's the one. For many of us growing up, serious teshuvah meant the following: stopping to do something bad. Sur Meira. Rav Kluger told us one time, the whole Chiddush the Baal Shem Tov is not erasing from the pasuk and Tehillim Sur Meira. It's just putting the dagesh, the emphasis on the next two words, Asay Tov. Until the Baal Shem Tov came into the world and brought down what he brought down, and the chevra from the Machon is a little bit of akdama of what we're going to be starting tomorrow. The emphasis, the only way to get a yid to really choose to wake up was sur meira. You got to stop. These magidim would travel around and they'd freak the daylights out of everyone they saw. They were very, these people they were orators. They were amazing demagogues. Their ability to mamash scare the daylights out of you was very strong. And it worked. The problem was, after all the avodah of Sur Meira, you had no koyach for va'asei tov. So you came for Rosh Hashanah, you're like, okay, I'm not doing anything bad anymore. But that doesn't help Satan, because Satan gets messed up with what? With asei tov, with חיבוב mitzvah. That's the avodah the Tolna Rebbe is focusing us all right now. It doesn't start in Rosh Hashanah. It's all Elul avodah. he continues to explain this. You know, he had a very personal relationship with the Ger Rebbes, and a lot of these Torahs come from things that the different Rebbes shared with him. So look what he says over here. ויש לבאר עומק העניין בזה, על פי יסוד גדול שזכיתי לשמוע מהרב הקדוש הבייס ישראל זכות יגן עלינו. שסח לי פעם תחס אחד השיחים. It's a beautiful language. The Ger Rebbe once told me something. Where? Tachat hasichim. What does that mean?
Branches?
Huh?
Under the branches?
Kilu, it can mean, like while we were walking walking the trees, right? What does it say? בדברי הכוסף בתהילים, דובר המלך says, יתיצב על דרך לא טוב, רע לא ימאס. I want you to know this next teaching is foundational in the 12-step program. Look what he says here. Yitietzeb al derech lo tov. What does that mean, yitietzeb al derech lo tov? When you set up shop, more or less, on a bad path. What ends up happening is ra lo yim'as. Yima'es. What does yima'es mean? Nimasli. Ra lo yim'as. You're not going to end up being sick of ra. You'll be, if you set up shop in life on a derech that's not good, like how do you know if the derech that you chose is not a good one? It's a very basic answer based on this. Are you despising ra? Or you figure out a way to tolerate it. B'diak HaBeis Yisrael, Dehine David HaMelech lo amar ra ya'aseh. It doesn't say, if you set yourself up on a bad path, you will do bad. Elama ra lo yim'as, meaning you're okay that it's around. You're okay that it's still part of your life. Doesn't mean you'll necessarily do it, but you're okay with being you're okay with a certain lashon. You're okay with different things in life that maybe don't fall into the categories of sin, but you're not moyes, you're not despising it, you're not pushing it away, you're not rejecting it.
We say, Ave Hashem Simra.
Bidyuk, very good. By Yidden, like what are we really trying to do? We're saying, Bidyuk la'efech, if you really love the Ribbon Shleilam, you can't tolerate it. You hate it. You reject it. You despise it. B'kavanasa legalos lanu, sha'mitiyatzev al derech lo tov, the one that sets up shop. You put yourself in a derech lo tov, eino bedavka mi she'oseh ra b'foal. We're not speaking specifically about someone that's doing something bad, actually mamish bad. Ela mi she'eino mo'es bara. We're speaking about someone that isn't despising bad. V'chol zman she'adam mo'es bara, as long as you're rejecting and you're sick of bad, af al pi nashenafal lekol ra, even though you fell into a lot of dark places, but you hate it, adayin eino begeder shel hityatzev al derech lo tov. You still don't fall under the category of setting up shop, setting up your way on a bad path. Ela ach verak she'eino mo'es bara, rak az hu mityatzev al derech lo tov. I'm going to try to explain this outside. I'll try. Listen to this. What the Tolna Rebbe is saying is very, very important. A person can be suffering, a person can be struggling, and be doing bad things. But if he hates what he's doing, he's not considered mityatzev al derech lo tov. Because lihityatzev al derech lo tov means I accept that this is my zach, that this is my lot, that this is just going to be my life. I accept it. I may not say it, but subconsciously, that's what's going on. My deal, I didn't get that chinuch that guy that seems like he's a gewalt, shining holy star. Whatever, you go through the excuse games, blame it on parents, whatever it is. Here we're saying, but what the Tolna Rebbe is saying over here is as long as even while you're in the Ra, it smells for you, you'll probably be okay. You don't fall into the category of hityatzev. Like hityatzev means to, like in the army, hityatzev. That means you have to show up. You have to be present, right? Hityatzev al derech lo tov. So as long as I can't as long as I'm doing bad, but I נמאס לי מזה. You ever like, יוסף, הכל בסדר, זה מאוד, just, הכל בסדר. Just one chesed in a few minutes. Come. As long as I'm not okay with the substance or with the whatever it is, today's not for Pirtei Pratim, but as long as I'm okay with that, this is my Inyan, יתיצב על דרך לא טוב. But if I'm not okay with it, David HaMelech says, you may be okay, you'll probably be okay. You'll probably be okay. There are a lot of places we can take this Torah to. Let's see how he takes it. ויש בזה להקל ולהחמיר. This goes for kula, this goes for chumrah. יש בזה להקל, שגם מי שנכשל ועבר עבירות ואפילו עבירות חמורות, someone that's really up to no good, like really no good, הנה כל זמן שהוא מואס ברע שעשה, he could be doing horrible things, but he's disgusted by what he's doing. ואינו מוצא מנוח לנפשו, and he can't find any tranquility or peace in his heart. והוא מלא חרטה, and every time he does it, he's screaming, I feel so bad. וצועק על השעבר, and he's crying, screaming over what just happened, על שנתפתה ליצרו הרע, that he was seduced to his evil inclination, ונפל לתהום הרבה, and he went down to the low depths of hell. הנה אף על פי שבוודאי יצטרך כפרה על מעשיו, you need kapara, you need Teshuvah. מכל מקום, אינו בגדר זה של יתיצב על דרך לא טוב. Like the Rebbe told us, you don't fall into the category of someone that has set up shop on a bad path. שהרי הוא מואס ברע, because he rejects bad to a certain extent, just not בפועל. He rejects bad the second after he does it. Rav Shlomo once said a beautiful definition of holy. He said, how do you know you're doing a holy act? If you could do what you're doing in the moment for the rest of your life. And you could consciously say, I would choose to do this the rest of my life. See, a Yid, when he sins, Reb Nosson speaks about this a lot, that chet has really no shaykhs to Yidin. We get caught up in this game, this evil inclination game. But Reb Shlomo was telling us, there's no situation that a Yid, while he's doing an Avera, he has one moment of consciousness, and he says, I would do this the rest of my life. Holiness is bidyuk ha'hefech, that while I'm doing what I'm doing, like when we're really in a state of tefillah, like really it's on, I would do it forever. I would do it forever. Okay. Second line on top, V'al ken adayin yesh tikva mimeno, a person like this that's moes, he still hopes sheyatzliach litnatek mimosrei yitzro hara. There's still hope that he will eventually disconnect from the shackles he got sucked into. V'la'alot ma'ala ma'ala l'derech hatov, and you go up to the good path. Umi'idach, that's a kula. But now yesh b'zeh lahachmir. But this can also get heavy. שמי שאינו מואס ברע, הגם שלא נכשל ולא עבר שום עבירה בפועל. Let's say you're not under the category of being dejected, feeling disgusted by bad. But you're not someone that does averas. Why not? לא יצא לך. לא יצא לך לעשות עבירות. It just didn't work out for you to do averas. So you're not, on the avera count, your avera count is not like, so high, but really, it's just because really it just didn't happen. What could be a good example?
There's no opportunity for that.
Right, but I don't know anyone that doesn't have, that has no opportunity to really do averas, but try to
say around here, like you're living in a frat, it's quite protected in that way. It's not like next to Vegas or something.
What do you mean?
A lot less opportunities to do averas. By us choosing to live here.
It's in your atmosphere, where you live.
That's how I feel.
Is that a cynical laugh or not? I can't tell.
You probably have heard stories.
Okay, we'll go with that. I don't know. I think we have to develop this a little bit for it to come down to us. What's the Rebbe describing here? A person that is not really doing bad things, but he doesn't have an energy of like moes bara.
hang out with bad company, you're guilty by association. You're not doing the act, you're not a criminal, but the guy you were hanging out with 5 minutes ago just robbed the store and you happen to run away together, or, you know, whatever.
Also,
I
if you,
think-
oh,
I think-
go ahead.
One
No.
thing I wanted to share the story. Showed up at shuls when I was not holding, let's say. And I show up and it's I think it was Yom Kippur. It was either Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. Doesn't really matter. I show up in the Orthodox shul like a good Jewish boy, trying to check the box at that stage.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to a guy who's in shul every Shabbos all year round, and I'm there to try to daven, and he's like complaining about how long the davening's going to be, what's he doing there. He's kind of like, he's not doing anything. He's doing all the right things.
By coming to shul.
Yeah,
But he's not Moes Bara.
no.
That's also very interesting. Okay, that's a good angle. Do you see what we're trying to develop over here? The type of, I mean, honestly, the reason why most of us can't really relate to this is because we know what it means to fall. We don't know so much what it means to be someone that doesn't really like have any association with darkness. Let's see if we can give him more clarity. Again, ומאידך יש בזה להחמיר שמי שאינו מואס ברע, הגם שלא נכשל ולא עבר שום עבירה בפועל, מכל מקום כיוון שאינו מואס בעבירה, הנה בכך הוא מתייצב על דרך לא טוב. The Rebbe says crazy thing. What does it mean to set up shop on a derech that's not good? He doesn't necessarily mean here that you're a Baal Avera. It just means that the derech you're on is not good. You know why? Because when you see bad, you may not be involved in it, but you're okay with it. It doesn't stare your life. You're okay. Live and let live. Live and let live. I'm from LA. They used to say that all the time. Live in graffiti all over Santa. I used to go to college in Santa Monica. I remember the graffiti all over the college camp. Live and let live, right? That's not a Yiddish concept. Arevus. I'm Arev. I can't live. What do you mean live and let live?
In New Hampshire, the tagline is live free or die.
Huh?
Live free or die.
Deep.
I'm saying
Not.
it's the same studio.
Ki kevan she'eno mo'es ba'avera. You're not sinning now, but you know what? Oh, fun times. Sofo sheyavo lidei avera. Nimtza shekvar ata hu misyatzev al derech halo tov. So it shows us here that even though you haven't done it yet, you're gonna get there. V'zeh haya Torah divrei harav hakodosh HaBeis Yisrael zchus yagen aleinu. And this is what the Beis Yisrael was giving over, basically, to the Tolna Rebbe, trying to explain to him that Teshuvah, don't get caught up in just those inyanim of checking the list of bad things and stopping to do bad things. The inyan of Teshuvah is much, much, much bigger. The inyan of Teshuvah is something so profoundly deep where we Eli, I see you. The inyan of Teshuvah is so profoundly deep that it opens up a completely new gate for us where we have to check in and say, where have I been okay tolerating certain things that wouldn't necessarily become on my cheshbon as an avera? Where am I mo'es bara? Is there any place in me that says I'm mo'es bara? When you start thinking like that, Elul becomes different.
Offense.
Absolutely.
It's on the offense.
Absolutely.
instead of
It's
being
on the offensive. Yeah, Eli.
Yeah, just to give a little bit of context, I hope the Rebbe is local, because we had a lot of conversations and a lot of private moments, and he was growing up in Bayat Began. His father was head of Datot, and he was playing football as a young teenager. He used to talk to my kids about it. You have to have something you love and enjoy as a young man. So he was going that way, and yet at the same time, his Zayda was a Rebbe, the Tolna Rebbe, and Zayda was by the Beis Yisrael, and eventually he became a chassid by the Beis Yisrael. And I can imagine the conversations they had was sort of like a part of his journey more towards a starker chassidus and helping him with his inyanim. So it wasn't just two Rebbes standing together. It was in context of someone growing up in Bayat Began doing bagrut.
Yesher koach for the context. Now let's go even further. ואפשר להוסיף על דבריו ולומר שכשם שהתייצבות על דרך הלא טוב תלויה ועומדת במאיסות הרע, setting up shop on a non-good path is dependent on how much you despise bad, כך גם במידה טובה מרובה, היתיצבות על דרך הטוב. So how do I get my act together and say, I am showing up and setting myself up on a good path? What is it dependent on? So you would say it's dependent on doing good. But no. You understand? It's not dependent on action. Very connected to Rav Kimchi said to us on Shabbos afternoon. Yosef, I think you brought it up earlier in the week. It's a very, very good point. We're always into having. The inyan of I have this or I don't have this. He says over here, if you want to know if you're setting yourself up in a good way, the shaila isn't how many mitzvahs do you have in your bank account. The question is, how excited are you to be able to do a mitzvah? How much passion do you have for the next mitzvah? She'yavo li'adcha al tachmitzena, as Chazal tell us. Don't miss out on it. Don't make it sour. ההתייצבות על דרך הטוב תלויה אף היא ועומדת ברצון ובהשתוקקות לעשיית הטוב. שכאשר אדם משתוקק לקיים מצווה בכל ליבו ובכל נפשו. When a person longs to do a mitzvah with all of his heart and soul, בכך הוא מתייצב על דרך הטוב. He didn't say that you did it. He said that you have passion to do it. That's the התייצבות על דרך טוב. Yeah?
Isn't it in Kitavo? I think that it says that it's not that you didn't do the mitzvot, you didn't do the mitzvot with simcha, but you have all the klalot, right?
It's a little bit, yeah, it's in Kitab, but it's a little bit different.
The simcha,
Because that has to do with the way that you did a mitzvah. We're not even talking about the way that you did a mitzvah. Tachas asher lo avatas Hashem lekach b'simcha u'tov levav is referring to that when you did mitzvahs, the Arizal speaks about it, that when you did mitzvahs, there was no simcha in it. Here we're not even speaking about doing the mitzvah. We're talking about excitement towards doing a mitzvah. Hashana, before that. Elul is all about the excitement towards which mitzvah? Tkiyas shofar. What do you think we're doing every morning? Elul isn't, I'm doing the mitzvah. No, I'm preparing. Every day is להגברת התשוקה. גם כשבסופו של דבר לא זכה לעשות את המצווה עצמה. And the Rebbe says over here famously, obviously, we all know this, that when you really wanted to do a mitzvah and you were excited about it, but it was taken from you, in Shamayim, what does it count? Or not? שהרי כך אמרו חז"ל, גמרא and brachos, חשב אדם לעשות mitzvah ונאנס ולא עשה, a person wanted to do a mitzvah, but he was nanas, he was coerced, he was forced, something forced him out of the picture being able to do the mitzvah. Ma le'alav ha'kasuv ki'ilu asa. The Torah says it's as if you did it, which is not the same when it comes to an avera. You thought about doing an avera, boy, were you thinking about doing an avera. You had weeks, months, sometimes years of thinking of doing averas, and it just congests your mind and thoughts and everything. It's not healthy, it's not good. No one should want it. No one should want a lifestyle like that. But if you didn't end up doing it, it doesn't fall under the account as if you did it. Even more bidiyuk. And you're able to prevent yourself. But by mitzvahs, it's the other way around, right? ולהפך, כאשר אדם עושה את המצווה. But listen, when you do a mitzvah, בלא השתוקקות, with no passion, no drive, ובלא שום מחשבה והזבוננוס, and without any thoughts, without any contemplation, ובלא הכנה, without any preparation, הנה אף על פי שבפועל עשה מצווה. Yes, you ended up doing a mitzvah. למאן דאמר שמצוות אין צריכות כוונה. Remember, there's a machlokes rishonim and achronim, whether mitzvahs need kavana in order to be considered to be yotzei yedei chova or not. מכל מקום, מצווה שכזו עדיין אינה מייצבת את האדם על דרך הטוב. You could do all the mitzvahs. You could be yotzei all the mitzvahs. According to the Banda Amar, the mitzvahs don't need kavana. But you know what you didn't do? You didn't set yourself up on the track that you really want to be on. That you didn't do. And that's the Rebbe is saying. The Pnei Yeshua is, we want to set ourselves up on a track to feel we are on a good path. We're in a healthy place. We're doing good. Sorry, we're not doing good.
Think,
We're
On our way to do.
thinking.
we're either on our way, we're thinking good, we're on our way to doing good, we're situated in a good place. I think that's probably the best way to say yitיצב al derech tov. Yeah, good setup. We're setting ourselves up in a good way. לפי שעניין היתיצבוס, היינו העמידה בכוח ובחוזק. What does it mean להיתייצב? By the way, what does the word להיתייצב come from? Where do we have this in the Torah? Nitzavim is a great example, which we'll have soon. What does nitzav mean? Where do we first have this in the Torah, chevra? Before that, that's also true. Before that, where do we have it? Huh? Akedat Yitzchak, Lifnei. It's a little bit of a trick. What does it say about Lot's wife?
The melech.
Netziv Melech, right? What does that mean? How do all the translations call it? Pillar. Meaning, when this inyan of the difference between yitיצב and לעמוד is like I could stand, or I could, like, a matzeva is called it's something that's established, nitzav, right.
Are the posts in the wall.
Right, בדיוק. בדיוק, נכון. עכשיו יש, להתייצבות זה משהו אחר. לפי שעניין היתיצבוס, היינו העמידה בכוח ובחוזק. ואין ההתייצבות מתייצבת אלא על ידי מצווה, הנעשית בהשתוקקות והכנה דרבה. Do you know how you get to the place of התייצבות? By a mitzvah that's done with shuka, that's done with passion, and that's done with hachana. That's why I always say it's impossible to have a hityatzvut davening if Shachris is 8:10 and you show up at 8:09. There's no way. Huh?
Or 8:20.
Yeah, no one shows up here at 8:20.
Later.
Yeah, actually, Eugene, it was like more like 8:35. Yeah. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, I don't see anything. I'm by the ball. These things don't work. And now we understand why Chazal tell us, Chasidim Rishonim ayu shoin sha achas lifnei atfila. What was the whole inyan of a whole hour before davening? Lehitiyatzev. Not just la'amod. Lehitiyatzev. Why do we try to learn before davening on Shabbos specifically? Why? Mamash. There's no other way. Benimtza. Next paragraph. שחיבוב מצווה אינו רק פרט בתוך המצווה. Liking, loving, excitement towards a mitzvah is not a detail within the mitzvah. אלא הוא עיקר עניין עשייס המצווה. This is what makes the mitzvah a mitzvah. A misnagid would freak out from words like this, right? A misnagid. What is he saying over here? This is the ikar of the whole inyan of the mitzvah, is the ishtokukus for it. The חיבוב המצווה הוא שמעמידו בקרן אורה, ומייצבו בדרך הטוב. Being excited, happy that this is your chelek, puts you in the place you want to be. Be'al ken, therefore, back to the beginning of what we said, חושש השטן מלהסטין כשרואה es חיבוב המצווה. Satan has no problem seeing a yid do a mitzvah. That doesn't מערבב את השטן. What messes up Satan? חיבוב. That messes up the Satan. He sees a yid do a mitzvah, להפך. If Satan sees a yid just doing a mitzvah, he's like, I got great stuff. Why? Because you're not going to, a yid like you is probably not going to end up doing Teshuvah me'ahava. So your toll is not going to rise. It's the yidlach that are going to slichas and hachanas. כי חיבוב המצווה לא מראה את אהבת הבורא רק בשעת העשייה. This inyan of חיבוב mitzvah doesn't just show how much you love Hashem while you're doing the mitzvah, אלא הוא מראה שכל דרכו של האדם הוא יתיצבוס על דרך הטוב. It shows us that all the way of man is setting themselves up on a good path. וההתייצבות הזו על דרך הטוב, this saying, I'm מיתייצב, I am showing up. I am putting myself chazak into this world of Torah by being excited about it. That's what sets us on the track. And this also, sotemet et ta'anot hayetze. That's how you get the Satan to shut up. That's how you get the Satan to shut up. You know, by the Rebbe's, I remember one of my greatest pains in life is that I never spent Yontiv by the Rebbes. Don't get me wrong. I'm very thankful that I got to spend by the Rebbe of all Rebbes, my Abba, davening. You know what it was to see your father in Chodesh Elul every year growing up, knowing that he's the Shliach Tzibur? It was a different. We grew up with a different Elul, something very different. But sometimes I hear Rav Shlomo describe what it was like to be by the Frierdiker Rebbe during Tkiyas, and I just melt. Or Hashana, really the Hashana Tkiyas. The preparation for Tkiyas were much, much greater. You ever hear of Ephraim Waxman? He's unbelievable. I think he's in Muncie. Right? I think he's in Muncie. He's as stark as like you think Yosef Mizrahi is. He's in a very, very different way. He's stark, but it's so beautiful. He does what's called Gramins. You ever hear him do the Gramins Erev Shavuos? Well, he'll write English lyrics to a song or something that speak about the love of Torah. I'll send you some of the stuff. Someone put on Spotify loads of his classes and his shmuz, and it's amazing. He said, I heard him say once that I never ever read or learned anything about Reb Chaim Volozhiner's Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. I only know about their Eluls. And he gave a list of a bunch of tzaddikim that we learned from so much. And he said, nothing's written about their Rosh Hashanahs, only about their Eluls. And then I started noticing in different Sfarim. There are plenty of Sfarim that there are barely any Torahs on Rosh Hashanah. But Elul, a mabul. Why? חיבוב mitzvah. חיבוב, this is, when I noticed, I was like, wow, it's really, because once you get to do the mitzvah, what could you even say? What could you even say? So just one more paragraph. Vehine. Kol kavanas hayetzer hara hi lehavi et adam lidei kach shelo yimaes bara. You know what the Yetzer Hara really wants? You know when the Yetzer Hara really succeeds? Not when you end up doing an avera.
You start to be okay with those things.
When you're okay that there's ra around. You're okay. Ki ha-me'isut mehara, because that pushing away the ra, mehava tris bifnei ha-puranut. You all know what trisim are, right? How do you say tris and shutters? The bimoes bara, that's the shutter before bad things happening. Umonat min hara likanes letochachei halev v'hamoach, and it prevents the ra to go inside the mind and the heart. He doesn't guarantee that about a mitzvah, but he says about ha'achana l'mitzvah. About moes bara, that guarantees that there's a shutter put on from all the bilbulim that constantly congest our brains and our hearts. Umi she'eino moes bara. If you're still okay with being around bad, and I'm b'chavana not getting into detail, because really, yes, there are things that are shavim l'chol nefesh, but there's a lot of things that I'm sure you understand that certain inyanim that people are dealing with that you never dealt with. Many years ago, Yossi shared with us something that I guarantee you no one else ever dealt with besides him. But for him, it was real. And that's why I don't want to go into detail about what someone deals with. It means moes baraz, whatever that is, whatever you're okay with, whatever you're okay with in life that still exists and you just accepted it to be, that's the biggest problem in the world. Because that's the gateway towards Satan saying, I got you. I got you. Umi she'eino moes bara hagam shelo asara, but if you don't have me'isot bara, even if you didn't do anything bad, mikol makom hu mesukan lipol la'asiyah asara rachmana litzlan. Ve'avodah hamuteret aleinu hi. So what is the avodah? Now I wanted to get to this. Lemaisa. Like we always say, we want to walk out of shiur, have a vision of what we just learned in a practical way with passion. What are we taking from this for today? Just for today. Because the avodah of Elul is also, do not think about Rosh Hashanah right now, and do not think about Yud Aleph Elul. Make sure all you're thinking about is Yud Elul. Just today. Just today. All you got to worry about is today. Havodah hu meteret aleinu hi. Michad lishtadel b'chol kochenu, lehamis es hara be'enei atzmenu. You got to ask this hard question. The hard question is, where in my life have I been okay with Ra being around me, even if I haven't fallen into it? That's one. So, michad lishtadel b'kol kochenu lehamis es hara be'enei atzmenu. But on the other hand, that's sur mera. That's not enough. What's the asay tov? Umeidach lishtadel b'chol kochenu lehishtokek lechol inyan shebekdusha. To train ourselves, to try really hard, to develop a pattern of excitement towards the next opportunity of holiness that's in my life. Right now, whatever, to start thinking, what is the next opportunity of holiness I have in my life? So for us in Eretz Yisrael, it's very, very easy. Very easy. I walk out of shiur, and let me, Hashem, give me a second of consciousness over the fact that I am living in Eretz HaKodesh. I know it's holy, I talk about it, I want to live it. I want to mishtokek. I want to be more excited about mekayiming the mitzvah of Yeshuva Aretz. Just like that. And that's what we have to ask with, he says over here, Lishtadel bechol kochenu. Listen, this stuff takes a lot of koach. Hashem, I'm really exerting my energy here to develop a pattern of getting excited towards the opportunities of Kedusha. And to prepare ourselves for any matters of Kedusha with excitement of the heart, longing of the heart. And this is how we will be able to set ourselves up on a good path. And even if, God forbid, we fall, you'll still get up. You see, chevra, mityatzev al derech tov doesn't mean that you don't fall. It means you fall, but the getting up is much easier because you set up shop. Cliff used to always tell me, drop a pin, drop a coordinate, drop a pin on the moments where the rhythm's flowing. Drop a pin, say, I was here. I know what this is like. I like this. This is good for me. This is good for me because I feel it's good for us. Get acquainted with that. Drop pins on moments where the Kedusha is happening in your life. Right? Drop a pin there. Huh?
We learned it in B'nai Machshava Tova.
Yes, PSS was
right?
big on that.
Yeah.
No, very good. Nachon. So many years ago already, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Drop a pin there. Why? Because it doesn't mean that you're never going to need... It means the person that's mityatzev al derech tov means, yes, sheva yipol tzadik, v'kam. That's the point. Ve'afim chalila nikashel, adayin tiyeh tkuma lemapalatenu. Kevan she'anu mo'asim bara, since we are dejecting evil, umityatzvim al derech hatov, and we're setting ourselves up on a good path. To end all this, you realize that as much as this is the avoda and the prat, the shaila for Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael is the same exact thing. Have we had enough of Ra? Are we moes bara? Or are we still going to tolerate the contamination of cancer in our midst? And as long as we're still okay with the reality that we're living in, to continue to be, we're not mityatzvim al derech tov. So I believe that when we do this more on a pnimi level, on avodas hanefesh, on the prat, it gives koach for the am to have enough, to decide we had enough of this evil. Someone asked me after Shabbos, what did it feel like having Shabbos Seudah with the ambassador? I said, honestly, it felt like we're all the biggest leftists in the world. That we're just like, Imam, it's like, sometimes it takes a brother from mamish, another mother, to come and show you, like, there are people that they're in certain areas of life, they're mo'es bara, right? I hope that our avodas halev of this Elul is a schus for all of Am Yisrael to continue to get healthier and healthier and healthier, like the pasuk that Avi mentioned, Ohavi Hashem sinura, and that our march towards the shofar every single day right now. We're going to continue this because we still haven't explained the following. What's the question we still have to understand? How is Tkiya's Me'umad and Meyushav still, how is that kashur to the story of חיבוב mitzvah? We have to explain that clearer. Hopefully we'll continue that next week. All right, shekayach, everybody.